Yes, yes. That's okay. Done? Yes. Oh, okay. Fine. Take. और ये क्लिप का इसका क्लिप नहीं है ये नहीं इसका एक तरीका होता है ठीक है यहाँ पे बांध दो ठीक है हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे राम Hare Krishna. Would like to would like to welcome all of you once again. So today we have a very special session. Yes, we are endeavoring to offer 108 bhogas to the Supreme Lord. And we'll be also watching a very beautiful movie today. Because most of the times you have been hearing me, or last time we had a change, like Harisam Prabhu was talking. But this weekend, we'll also watch a movie. It's a movie time today. And after movie time, we have a grand lunch. Whatever is offered to the Lord, Lord is saying that, okay, now this is the time for my devotees. So before that, yes, let's seek the blessings of our acharyas. So please repeat after me. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Desatarini Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Krupa Sindhobhya eva cha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, yes, we have a special topic. We'll have a small discussion today, and then we'll be knowing a little bit more about who is a true sadhu, what is the qualities of a true guide, and once we know, and how we can really follow the guide. But before we start, I would like to hear from you. Whatever you have learned so far, or whatever have been discussed over the last couple of weeks. Anybody would like to share 1 or 2 points before we get started, just to warm up our mind? Any one or two points that has been discussed over the last couple of weeks? Anybody? What is so special about this month? And we have been going through also some wellness challenge. Hope everybody is really excited and performing the respective activities. Yes, in this world, yes. Oh, you heard about Ramayana? Yes. During Dasahara time, yes, we had a wonderful session on Ramayana. We heard about the qualities of the devotees of the Lord. We heard the qualities of the demons and how we have a choice either to follow the divine qualities or the demon qualities. And it's really up to us, what kind of qualities that we really fit into ourselves. Regulating the mind. What do you learned in the regulating the mind last session? So how to regulate the mind? Yes. Yes, very good. So yes, and a controlling mind is very difficult. That's what not we are saying, right? That is being spoken by Lord, by Arjuna to Lord Krishna. Pramati Balavad Drudham. Arjuna, who is Gandiv Dhari, who is Parantap, right? He is saying, "Oh Lord, Chanchala hami mana Krishna." ये मन बहुत चंचल है, बहुत दृढ़ है, it's very difficult to control. Yes, I can control, with my arrows, with my powers, like Vayu, I have Agnivan, I have Vayuvan, he had a lot of power, to counteract the different powers of the enemies. But he's saying that to control the mind, it is very difficult. So how to then control the mind? What is the Lord Krishna's instruction to Arjuna? What we heard last time? It's very difficult to control the mind. And we heard, like the hierarchy as well, right? Anybody? Yes? Very good. Lord is saying, Abhyasena yuktena vairagyena. Abhyasa and vairagya. Yes, especially for the kids, right? Even to learn a music instrument, or you want to play some games and excel in a game, or a coder in a corporate, right? Or if somebody wants to cook nicely, right? It's not that something happens by chance, right? It's a lot of practice. Similarly, once you come to equip our mind, right, also the right tools. Yes, like we are educating our children with so many formulas, with so many data, so many facts, but then we are not teaching, or we are not being taught how to control our mind. That's why it is said, we have guided missiles but misguided mind. Yes, unfortunately, you see that people grow up so big, and just a flick of the moment, they really fall down because they are not steady. So whatever we are hearing, whatever we are learning, it's not only relevant for our spiritual growth, but for holistic growth. To grow, right, ourselves as a husband, as a wife, or as a employee, or as a good member in the family, whatever the role that we might play. Bhagavad Gita really tells us how to make us stronger, how to make a better version of ourselves every day. And how to do that? Yes, abhyasena and vairagya. And how to do that abhyas? What to do that abhyas? Yes, we have to engage our senses. We have to engage our senses in serving the Lord, in serving the devotees, in doing something positive, right? Like once again, we always give this example of a kid because as a parents we can really relate to it. As a children, we might not be able to do it, but as a parent, we can relate. If children is really, some children, they are playing with fire or playing with a knife. If you ask them, stop, 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 or most importantly, mobile, right? If you ask them to stop, stop, they will not do it. But if you give them some higher engagement, well, something more exciting, right? Like, okay, if all the children are different, right? It's not that one, tool really applies to everybody. Some children, they really love to paint. Some children, they really love to, right? Maybe hear stories. Somebody, would love to, sing songs, right? Understanding what exactly the unique or the higher thing, or what exactly really, attracts the mind of the children. We know that, right? And we really give them, okay, we give a gulab jamun, we really give something, right? Something better, right? Engaging positively rather than saying, no to the whatever they are doing. Because most of the times, we always say no, 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 no. Right? Instead of saying no, what is it? Give something better version of it, but higher engagement. That's why Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Visaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavajjam rasopasya param društva nivartate. He's saying that param društva, we should have a higher test. And what is a higher test? Yes, we are eating so many things. And today, we'll be honoring prasadam of the Lord. You see, after testing prasadam, we'll look at everything else looks very pale. Once we hear, let's say, the pastimes of the Krishna and all the entertainment of the world, that will really look pale, right? Because this is so much of, rasa is there, so much of nourishment is there, just like somebody is really having, maybe a $1 billion, he would not care for that $1, right? But most of the times, as we say, we are paying, right, $1 billion to get one gulab jamun. So we should be intelligent enough where we are engaging our mind, where we are putting our energy. Are we trying to put some energy somewhere where our return, right, will be 10x or 100x, or our return will be 100th or 1000th or 1 millionth of whatever we are putting it. Like as an intelligent person, we say that, okay, I'm putting so much effort, but what is the return I'm getting? What is the thing I'll take it over, right? So, but here, Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Neha vikarma nasosti pratyavaya na vijate swalpamasya dharmasya trayate mahottavaya. Just put a little bit and then you will cross over the biggest fear, the biggest difficulties that we have. We'll really get the strength to cross over that. And we talked about, in detail, you might remember about the how to surf through the suffering. Anybody remembers 1 or 2 points? If somebody is diseased, right? We understand, like, disease is not only about the bodily disease, but we are here in this atmosphere, in this group, we are talking about the disease of the mind, most importantly. What are the diseases of the mind? What are the diseases of the mind? What is? Anger, never satisfied, proud, jealous. Yes. Can anybody say that, I am disease free, right? And is there any hospital which really takes care of the diseases? Right? And here, that's why, we are really, that's what we call the lifestyle management. It's not about just, remembering some sloka or just kind of, following some rituals, right? To understand this essence of Bhagavad Gita and really applying it in our life to bring a difference to ourselves and to all other, people nearby. Because most of the times, yes, we love things, right? But we use people. We use people. We try to exploit, right, our near and dear ones, vertically, horizontally. But we love things. We love, this, classy mobile phone, or nice house, nice car. We love things. But our Sanatan Dharma, it teaches us to love people, right? Love people, right? And that's what Lord is saying, that, I have come here to give that love. because everybody is, malnourished, within the heart. And we'll really hear about a person today, who is really distributing so much love all across the globe, right? We'll talk about that one person, right? Okay, any other comments before we proceed? Any other things that you remember? How many of you are here for the first time today? Okay, thank you. Okay. Anybody would like to share any other thoughts for the benefit of who have joined? Maybe one or two lines that you have learned so far. Yes. Anybody? What one or two points that you have learned over the last couple of weeks? Any? Wow, can you elaborate a little bit more? Like you said, serving the servant of the Lord. Because most of the times, we hear that we need to be bossanu boss. We need to be the boss of the boss. But we have never heard that we need to be dasanu das. Nobody likes to be the servant. But we heard that. How? Lord Krishna, he himself teaches in this first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, playing the role of a chariot driver, chariot driver, because he feels that serving the devotees of the Lord, serving the near and dear ones, especially who are connected to the Lord, it's so much more fulfilling, especially in our South India and Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Wherever they go, they address themselves as a Adiyan. You have heard? How many Tamils are here? Nobody? No? Okay. You say Adiyan. What is the meaning of Adiyan? What is the meaning? Yes, Adiyan means I'm your servant. Adiyan. I'm the servant. I'm Das. Yes. It's so beautiful, right? Like, always, the mood is that, I'm not here to enjoy, exploit. I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve the Lord, and I am here to serve everybody. And with that mood, you think what will be the relationship will be, either husband, wife, or the parent, children, or, even the employee and employer, right? Whatever the relationship, if you think that I'm here to serve the Lord, I'm here to get purified, I'm here for the correction, not for my enjoyment.
Detachment to temporary things.
Yes, very good. We talked about attachment and detachment. Yes, we should be attached to the Supreme. And once we attach to the Supreme, and we will automatically be detached, right? With so many nonsense things of the world. Because we said that, like, we are asking, oh, where is the sun? Where is the sun? Where is the light? But we are keeping that 1 rupees coin or maybe 10 rupees coin close to our eyes, right? And we are asking, where is the sun? And our Acharya is saying that, just take out the coin. Then we say, oh, will I really lose my 10 rupees coin? Oh, why you're asking me to give something? No, we are asking you just to open your eyes. And how will you open your eyes? Take that 10 rupees coin out. Whatever kind of, the so-called attachment that we have. Lord is not saying that you give up. Lord is saying that how you can really engage them. Like today, all of you, prepared so lovingly. It's not that Lord is going to eat everything and will not give everything. No, once we offer it as a, part of the love, right? And then we receive the reciprocation of the Lord. Just like, a child comes, right, to the parents, right? And she prepares something which has been really the father's property only. But first he offers it to the father. The father becomes so happy, isn't it? Oh, my child gave, like, one of my, our Acharya, he was saying that when he was a child, he remembered that, okay, today is my mother's birthday. So, he went to the garden, which was really nicely nourished and cared, by the mother. And he took a flower, from that garden, rose flower, and he offered it to the mother. Mother was so happy. That garden belongs to the mother only. But then once that, just a simple flower, he took it, right, and offered it to the mother. Mother is so happy, right? It's not the thing, but the thought that counts. In our relationship also, right? Nobody is really kind of happy just by having a big things. right? But having that simple, submissive, serving mood, to each other, that really helps. Okay. Any other closing comments before we proceed? Yes, please. Listen first, yes. Now we talked about from the second chapter, beginning of the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, right? How Lord Krishna, he is saying that like first chapter, he heard it. He didn't say much. He heard lot of thoughts from Arjuna, right? Why he should not fight. And in the beginning of the second chapter, he started speaking. So basically we heard that पहले सुनिए फिर सुनाइए, पहले समझिए फिर समझाइए. Yes, sir. Soul is immortal. Oh, you remember we talked about GITA? Anybody remembers GITA? Anybody? What is the full form of Gita? GITA? From the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita we discussed. What is G stands for? Yes? Guru and God, right? Like a guru. So, I'm not all in all. There is a Supreme Lord. And I, this body is not all in all. There is a soul. This lifetime is not all in all. There are many more lifetimes that had passed and that is about to come. Right? And this material world is not all in all. There is a spiritual world. Right? And also we summarized our second chapter Bhagavad Gita, right? As like, as you said, this Guru and God, right? Like that's what it is mentioned. Then it talks about identity. Then there are two duties, like, yes, we have the conditional duties and constitutional duty. Conditional duty means, yes, I am a mother, I am a father, I am the son, I am the daughter, I am the employee, right? Whatever the role that I might be playing, right? And then I am the part and parcel of the Lord. I am the soul, I am the eternal living entity. And how can I really connect with the Lord? This is the two duties, how you have to go in parallel. All right? Because most of the people, they say, no, you have to give up one. No, it's just like that railway track, right? Like we have to go together. Now, our conditional duty, constitutional duty. I cannot really run away from my responsibilities, right? As a parent or as an employee or whatever I might be doing. And at the same time, I should not be too much attached to my conditional duty that I forget my constitutional duty. What is my constitutional duty? Like we heard about that example. What is that example of body and soul we heard? That case and parrot, right? So it's not that we only feed that, or we only take care of the painting of the case, but forget feeding the parrot, right? So yes, we understand that we are the soul, we are the spirit soul, and we have to feed the soul. We have to feed the soul. Okay, so now let's proceed to today's section. So, okay, my question to you is, right? Yes, we are gaining a lot of knowledge. So first of all, what is knowledge? This knowledge means just to be overwhelmed with a lot of books, to get a PhD, to get 100 patents, to be a scientist, or our knowledge to translate it to money, because that is the really honey. What is knowledge? Or to keep it simple, right? What are the qualities of a knowledgeable person? Whom you will call as he's a really knowledgeable person? Who knows right and wrong, who has that discrimination power, right? To differentiate. Very good. Huh? He knows also, not only knows, but also he knows the process to implement it. Yes. Who can make the right decisions? Yes, I might know it, right? And I know the approach also, but yes, I have to implement the decisions, right? I should be strong enough to implement that right decisions. I have to determine to follow that path, right? I need to be disciplined, right, to follow that approach. Wonderful. Anything else? Which, like, yeah, but then one second, it's circular, right? Like, what is knowledge and what are the qualities of a knowledgeable person? Self-awareness. Very good. Can you elaborate a little bit more about it? Yes. 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 Very good. What is your good name, sir? Biswa. Biswa. Very good. So especially, of course, in various sections of Bhagavad Gita, Lord talks about the true knowledge, and especially in Bhagavad Gita chapter 13, chapter 13, verse number 9. 8 to 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and these 5 verses, Lord talks about the various components of knowledge. But today, we'll just, quote from one of our famous philosopher, with this very beautiful verse. What is saying? You want to chant this? Matravat paradaresu paradrabbesu lastravat Atmavat sarvabhutesu ya pasyati sa pandita. So what Chanakya is saying that, who is a pandita? The pandita is not that having, some tilak or some saffron dress only. Pandita is the one, he's matravat paradaresu. Anybody can translate it? Matravat. He sees every other woman except wife as the mother. That's what you might have observed, right? In our movement, we call everybody as Mataji. Of course, sometimes the young ones, they get offended. Am I really looking like a mother to you? But mother is the highest position that you can offer it to anybody, right? We are giving all respects to every other woman, apart from, of course, wife is Ardhangini. Of course, we are not disrespecting our wife, but we are trying to say that we are, and you see, if you just implement this one line, there will be so much of peace. Whatever is happening all over the world, right, in the name of exploitation, right, everything will go away. This is wonderful qualities, Chanakya saying. And then paradrabyesu lostravat, whatever belongs to somebody else, that is a lostravat. That's just like, just like a pathar, like, just insignificant. And then atmavat sarvabhutesu, considering everybody else as somehow, part and parcel of the Lord. And they are related to me. Ya pasyanti sa pandita. And to elaborate further, and Lord Krishna is also saying, like, as you said, how he sees everywhere, everything connected to the Lord. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastine sunicheva supakecha pandita samadarshina. A true knowledgeable person, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. First, Vidya gives Vinaya. What? Vidya Dadati Vinayam. Like, it's not that a person is knowledgeable, means he becomes proud. Right? Oh, I am so and so degree holder. I am coming from so and so Ivy school, or I have read this and this Shastras. That's why, I am so learned, I am so great. No. Vidya should lead to Vinaya, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. And once, we have that humility, right? Lord Krishna is saying, he sees everybody as part and parcel of the Lord. Either it could be a Brahmana who is well qualified, or Gavi, right, as an elephant, or a cow. Cow as a Gavi, and Hastini as an elephant, or Suni, or a dog eater. Everybody, right? This is a, people talk about equality and diversity and all that, inclusion, right? Everything Lord is saying here, right? And Lord does not differentiate. That we always say that, and Lord does not differentiate, like, to give His mercy from where you are coming from, irrespective of race, religion, sex, whatever it is, right? Even it goes beyond, even, right, like male and female, beyond species also, human species. Right? If somebody has that much of respect to other species as well, right? How beautiful this world will be. So, any questions or comments? So, yes, in our Shastras, real knowledge, it talks about, it's to really bring the transformation, right? Like, how, and our, it's not only focusing on the skill, but also on the will, the eagerness, the enthusiasm, the intention, right? Not only focus on the valuables, but on the values, right? We talked about this, not only constitutional duty, but constitutional. So we are not saying that only, right, the left hand side is important. There has to be both. We should never also forget, right, these subtle or intangible kind of things, right? How from our heart, right, that selfishness, right, should translate or transform into selflessness, or that greed to generosity, or that anger or hatred to the love, to the humanity, right? That's a very beautiful verse, Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita and also in Bhagavatam. He's saying that Vishwaksena kathasuya na utpadate yadi ratim srama evahi kevalam. So unless we develop love for the Lord and the humanities, right, all the other living entities, whatever we might say that, or whatever we might acquire, is srama evahi kevalam. It is just a useless labor, right? If somebody is really having so much of hatred within, right, we cannot say that, oh, he's such a big priest, or a big billionaire, or a big executive, or whatever it is, right? As somebody is a Mahatma, somebody is really great, right? By seeing that, how much he has having love for himself, right? Not only for himself, but other living entities, for all the humanities. And he is really not just focusing about only the success, right, climbing the success ladder, but also to understand how to really remain happy. So today we thought of discussing a couple of topics, that how to seek knowledge. There are how to seek knowledge. Approach Guru, okay. Reading books. By being humble. Very good, very good. From the environment, okay. So, like now we have, what is your name? Pramod, okay. So now Prabhuji told Pramod. But now, let's say I'm talking about, let's say Prabhuji, who is sitting in the back with spec. Can I know him? What is his name? What is his phone number and what is his address? Can I know him? I can guess, oh, I had seen him, near Forum Value Mall. Maybe unka ghar uske paas hona chahiye. Or oh, I have a friend who knows him. Maybe he's staying there, right? Now, there is something called different ways we can learn, right? One is called pratyaksha. Prati means direct. Aksha means eyes. Direct evidence, right? We see directly, and like through the experiment, the scientific experiments, right? Like, we observe something and then we said, okay, this is what it is. He has gone there, his house is there, he's coming from there. And then second approach, we just guess it, right? Through some different manipulation, through some interpretation. Okay, I know, he always go through this road and he kind of, passes by there, and definitely his house must be there. And third could be that, okay, I go directly to him, right? Prabhuji, what is your name? Where do you stay? Right? Or I know that, maybe Pramod Prabhu is a good friend of our Deepak Raj Prabhu. I'll ask, Pramod Prabhu, could you please tell? And I know both of you are good friends. Can you tell me, right? What is his name? So there are three ways we can learn. First is called pratyaksha, through the direct evidence. And then second is called anuman. And third is called sabda praman. We directly hear from him or directly hear from somebody who knows him. Is it clear? Usually, that's the process of seeking knowledge. And now, yes, the first one we said about the scientific method, right? The direct evidence. Is it that always all our scientific experiments is correct? Right? Yes, definitely we are not ignoring it. Definitely they are helping us. But what we are trying to say, it is not complete. We cannot see that, whatever the science is really projecting, or we can really go back to our childhood days while doing the science experiment. Most of the times our G value is 10.5 or 9. Then our teacher says, no, it was not a perfect arrangement. We got it. But then ask, okay, who has done it? Right? That absolute and that right atmosphere, right? But what we are trying to say is that, each of our senses has some limitations. Like the eye, right? It can see only the wavelength between maybe 390 to 750, nanometer. Or like maybe the ears, it can hear only maybe 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, right? Not beyond that, right? Or even the nose, like if we are having some cold, we cannot smell the fragrance, right? Or then the test also, if you take sweet after taking a lemon or taking something else, the test differs, right? Or even the our skin also, depending on wherever you are coming from, right? So what you're trying to say is that we have a limited senses, right? It is not, we cannot really understand, right, like the infinite things through our limited supervision, limited power of the senses. Is it clear? And also, yes, imperfect senses gives the imperfect results. And some of you might have heard all this, science, right? Like, how the Dalton's law and Rutherford's Schrödinger and the quantum and a lot of newer and newer things are coming up in the science as well. But yeah, so especially in our youth programs, right? We go a lot into the scientific things, but now let's move forward. So now I'll talk about like guess, right? We can also think that, okay, maybe like this, right? So can you just tell me how many colors are here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, how many you say 2? How many you say 3? Okay, how many you say 4? Okay, most of you. How many say 5? Okay, some of you. So what do you think is right? 5? So you have only green, pink, and white. Only 3 colors. Yeah, because the green comes in contact with the pink, it shows as a red. But actually they are pink colors, right? And now, what do you think? We have 2 figures. The central circles, which one is bigger, which one is smaller? Yes, because now you understand. Right, what I am trying to say is that how even our senses, can also lead, if you just follow our senses, it can give also wrong perception as well, right? Most of you might have heard this one as well. What do you see here? What do you see here? Face. Yes, different perspectives. Like saw that person is singing a saxophone, and you saw a valley, right? Right. What do you see here? I don't see anything. Liar, yes. We are quick to find faults with everybody. A liar, a cheater, right? And also a person. You can see the face with the eyes and the nose. Right? Yes, most of the times you try to speculate. Oh, maybe COVID hua because of this, that reason. Oh, because we had a flu. Even the doctor also keep on experimenting. Maybe you would have this problem. Somebody was walking in a living, and like ortho guy will say, no, his leg is broken, and physiotherapy, no, this muscle is gone, and when you're a guy, you get 3 different. And we're not saying that all these are absolute understanding. So now, right, like especially Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, he is a very good example. He talks about a Dr. Frog who was living in the well, and he was thinking that, oh, I am the king of the well and I know everything. What is happening, everywhere. And one time, another well came from the Atlantic Ocean, right, and to that well. And he started saying that, do you know that, I come from such a vast ocean. And the Dr. Frog who is in the well, he was saying, oh, is it bigger than 2 times bigger, 5 times bigger than this well, or 10 times bigger than the well? Can that frog who is in the well, it can really understand the vastness of the ocean? Is it possible? No, that's what, like, our Acharyas are saying that if, let's say, baby is in the womb, can you really understand what is there outside the womb? Right? At this point in time, we are in ignorance. That's the Acharya saying that there is so beautiful spiritual world outside. Please try to understand it. Right? Yes, at this point of time, now our eyes, our knowledge may be limited, but we can really understand it. And how do we do it? As we talked about that example, through the Sabda Praman. Like if a child is really lost, right, and he wants to understand the father, how he can really understand How can you search the father? Right? You can do the DNA test of all the male population. Okay, so not all the male population. I'll do only maybe 30 to 40 years. I'll do kind of a DNA test of everybody. Not okay, all the people, maybe only of this city. Is that a sound proposition to find who is my father? Or the best could be, just ask my mother, right? Ask my mother, who is my father, right? So similarly, right, like in an organization also, if I want to work, I have some responsibility. What do? I really talk to my manager. I talk to my authority, right? What is the goal and what do I have to do? Similarly, in the path of spirituality also, right? I need to really understand, right? What is my constitutional position? Where am I going and what I have to do, right? And that's where, just like in anything that you buy, there is a manual to it. Similarly, for our life also, is there a manual? And can we really follow that? Or yes, for any disease, there is a medicine. And for this medicine, for the diseased mind, for the diseased heart, there is also a medicine. Can you really approach that medicine? Right? Yes. Right? This Vedas. Vedas are called our mothers. The scriptures are called mothers. They really give us the knowledge about the Supreme Father. Yes, there are some things in the Vedas, right, which have really come true, right, over the years. So many people that they are able to understand, right, especially the appearance of Chanakya, Buddha, and Chandragupta, right, all in our scriptures, right, like especially in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a section called, right, how the womb gets developed over a period of time. Right, how the different organ comes, how the consciousness comes. It is given so much in detail that in today's world, there is a book called Gray's Anatomy, or so many advanced anatomy books. You will not find so much in detail. Right? So sometimes people say that, oh, these scriptures, these Puranas, these are written by aborigines. Right? If written by some aborigines, how come the detail, the poetry, right, and the facts that is written is so minute? Like, people now know about the earth is, right, a goal, right? In our Sanskrit, in our lot of many verses, Bhugol is written, right? But people recently started knowing that. Earlier they were saying the earth is flat, and they didn't know about it. But if you go to our scriptures, everything is there. Or you talk about the properties of the cow dung. Cow dung is mentioned, like, from our ages, how it is so pure, right? How people used to just ignore it. Right? Yes, there are so many, right, predictions are there in the Vedas. Of course, the Vedas are really also vast, right? It's very difficult, right? Like we talk about the vastness, right? To even because everything is written in Sanskrit, because that's the script that has been written, all the Vedas. To master in Sanskrit itself, it takes 12 years. Right? And how can you say that we can write, all this written by aborigines, or it's called mythology? And sometime back we talked about, this is not mythology. Is it mythology? This Ramayana, Mahabharata? What we should say? And these are the Puranas, these are the Itihasas, right? So some of you might not be able to see it, maybe we'll just send it, or sometime we'll discuss in detail about the Shrutis, Smritis, what are the different Vedas, or the Aranyakas, right, different Vedangas, right, this Panchatattva will go in detail. But what we are trying to say here, right, right, yes, we have also limited energy, right, to understand all the details, what is there in the Vedas, right? And sometimes we might ask, why there are so many different scriptures are there? Why there are so many different scriptures are there? Anybody? Why? Because of diversity. Yes. Anybody else? Yes. Like there are different books for a preliminary nursery student, and there is a different book for the higher grade students, right? Depending on the capacity. Like somebody might have a pocket dictionary, somebody have a big thesaurus. Depending on what you are really looking for, depending on the audience, depending on the digestive capacity of the audience, we have the different books. Similarly, the scriptures also are given based on the digestive capacity of the audience. So now, okay, so now I don't have energy to read so many scriptures. Can you tell me the essence of the Vedas? What is the purpose of the Vedas? What is the essence of the Vedas? It's way of life. Very good. Self-development, seek and improve, to realize the truth. Yes, very good. Yes, yes. So I'll tell you, right? Like, our acharyas have really summarized the Vedas in these 3 words. You know, 3 words. It's called Sambandha, Avideya, and Prayojan. What is Sambandha? Sambandha means, to understand who am I and who is that Supreme Lord and what is our relationship with that. That Sambandha is a relationship. Mere Samdhi, Mere Samdhan. That's what we say, right? The Samdhi, right? It's my Sambandha, like my relationship with the Supreme Lord, right? And then once I understand, right? Once I understand the relationship, then I awaken that relationship through some process. And that process is called Abhideya. And that process is called Abhideya. The process. What is the process? Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. There are different processes are there. And here Lord is saying that, how the different paths that you can follow and you can really connect to me. Right? And then once you really follow that process, what is the result? Result is to develop love. Love for the Lord. Now that's called SAP, Sambandha, Avideya, Prayojan. This is the essence of the Vedas. To understand our relationship, like who am I and what is our relationship with the Lord. And then second is to reawaken our relationship, by following the process of bhakti. And third, what is the result that you get, by following this process? Result is to develop love of God. Right, to understand a little bit more in detail. How do you understand? Right, like you are going in somewhere from some place to some place, right? You understand, okay, I am here, I have to go there, right? This is my source and that is my destination. That's a GPS, right? So that's what we also do, right? Okay, I am the just a part and parcel of the Lord, and I have to go to the spiritual world where there is a Lord, right? Exactly the same thing, right? And once I understand it, and how do I really seek the knowledge? How do I really learn? Like as we go to the university, right? What do? You have a teacher, you have a classmates, and you have some books. Is it not? The 3 things are required once you're going to a school to learn, right? Similarly, and it's a spiritual circle also. What do you need? We need a master, right? And then we need association, the friends. We cannot practice all alone, right? And the second thing is that we need scriptures. We need the Shastras, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So we should, whenever we want to progress in this path, we should really keep this 3, this tripod, right? We should not just do if somebody just said to me, oh, you just do it like this. Or, if somewhere something is written, it's not that I just follow it. I discuss with my sadhus, with my friends, right? And so how I should triangulate, right, the words of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra together, and then I really follow that path, right? It's not that by just taking a tuition teacher, I'll become a graduate, or not that I'll go to any study circle by playing with some friends, I can go there, right? There has to be proper institution, there has to be a proper guru, there has to be a school, and we have to follow, which is really the bona fide scriptures, right? And then only I can really the proper knowledge. Because most of the times people get cheated because they follow, oh, this is a sadhu, this is a baba, this is a guru. But is he aligned? What is there in the scripture? They don't see that. They don't see that. Or some people say that, no, this is there in the Shastras. But then, okay, how to follow it? They don't get it because they are not in the association. They feel, oh, it's impractical. How can you really expect all this process to follow right now? But then once you come in the association of the devotees and the friends, oh, this problem now, it's very easy, right? You just kind of, solve it like this and like this. So, your friends will give a lot of shortcuts to solve the, problems, maybe complex mathematical problems. Isn't it? So please, this is a very, very important, right? To really learn these 2 concepts that we learned. One thing we learned is that the essence of the Vedas is Sambandha, Avideya, and Prayojan, and how to seek that knowledge, through those 3 mediums. And it has to go together, not just only one. Okay? Right? So now, okay, now you understand, right? Sadhu means, is it that once again, right? Who is having some magic, right? Some magician qualities, right? With some saffron, some tilak. Is this really a saint? How do you know who is a saint? How do you know who is a saint? How do you know who is a sadhu? We talked about, right? We need to associate with the sadhus. Any thoughts? Who is a sadhu? Okay. There is a very beautiful, ways, right, where we can understand who is a guru and who is a sadhu. Who is a guru? Guru is a person who knows the conclusion of the scriptures. Guru is a person who obeys those principles of the scriptures. Guru is a person who occupies himself in following, the principles that is given in the scriptures. And Guru is a person who liberates all the living entities, right, through the process, right? So I say Guru is a cool. What is it? He's a cool. He knows the conclusion of the scriptures. He obeys the principles of the scriptures. It's not that he just gives, but he also follows. He obeys his principles, right? He doesn't say that, no, this is only for you, not for me. Right? That's why you always say, this is for all of us, right? He obeys the principle, and not only obeys means he follows. He occupies himself all the time in following the scriptures. And then not only he's happy in delivering himself, but also he helps others as well. He helps in liberating others also. That's why he's called cool. Another beautiful verse. We talk about who is a sadhu. Sadhu means sadhu is really always embedded with these beautiful ornaments. What are these ornaments of a sadhu? Would like to know? Just like a soldier, he's ornamented with the Parampara chakra, Veer chakra, and all that, right? He has the different medals. Sadhu, what is the quality of a sadhu? What is the quality of sadhu? Yes, very beautiful verse. Titiksava karunika surudha sarvadehinam ajada satrava santa sadhava sadhu bhushana. Sadhu bhushana. This is the ornaments of a sadhu. He should be titiksava, he should be patient, he should be tolerant. Karunika, he's compassionate, right? And then he's suhruda, he's a well-wisher friend of everybody. Sarva dehinam, right? He knows what exactly is the need of the people. Ajata satrava, he doesn't have any enemy. And he's santa, he's always peaceful. Sadhava sadhu bhushana. This is the quality of a true sadhu. So next time, once you hear that somebody is a sadhu, you should see that, right? What is the kind of quality he is having? And then, yes, we should choose, right? And it's not that we can just follow anybody and everybody, right? Yes, this is the quality of a sadhu. And now, right, today we'll just kind of show you and talk about you one sadhu, right? Yesterday was his disappearance day. And with that, I just want to show you a beautiful movie, right? And we'll have a quiz after that. So please be attentive. This is my humble request. Please be attentive. It's just around a small video, right? Please hear carefully, and we'll have a quiz, and we'll have a wonderful gift for you as well. Okay? So now this video starts. Okay. You can hear?
His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The movement he started is now known to millions around the world, yet he himself remained in the background. Without personal ambition, he worked humbly to spread Krishna consciousness, devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet his achievements and personal character did not go unnoticed. The world's leading scholars and religionists praised his unique contribution, and thousands grew to love him as their dearmost friend and well-wisher. In his memory, his disciples erected a stunning memorial in the hills of West Virginia, now visited by 500,000 people a year. In this and many other ways around the world, Srila Prabhupada is offered expressions of love by those whose lives he most deeply touched.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama.
Always remember Krishna, God, and never forget him. This was the goal of the rich spiritual culture that flourished in India for thousands of years. Even today, Lord Krishna is remembered and glorified through monumental achievements in architecture, art, drama, music, dance, and philosophy.
Calcutta, 1896.
Calcutta, 1896, the capital of India, the crown jewel of the British Empire, an elegant city of wide avenues and spacious parks. It is here that Aboy Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami is born. A pure devotee of Krishna from birth, Aboy Charan is raised in a well-to-do mercantile family. From infancy, he goes with his father to the Radha Krishna temple, and at age 4, the child spontaneously begins worshipping similar deities in his home. When Aboy Charan hears of Ratha Yatra, a traditional festival in honor of Lord Krishna, it further inspires his natural devotion. With his father's help, every year he holds his own small celebration, drawing the neighborhood children into the festivities. At age 8, Aboy Charan enters the nearby Mati Lal Seal School. After graduation, he attends Scottish Churches College, one of the most respected in Calcutta. At the time, Mahatma Gandhi is organizing his countrymen in a nationwide boycott of everything British. Gandhiism is surging through India, uniting her in a massive non-cooperation movement. Sensitive to British subjugation of India's culture and people, Aboy Charan becomes an early supporter of Gandhi's movement. But 1922 marks a turning point in Aboy Charan's life. He meets Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, the greatest devotee of Krishna of his time. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta belongs to the disciplic succession of spiritual masters extending back to Lord Krishna himself. He convinces Aboy Charan that Krishna's spiritual message transcends India's dependent position. Nothing is more important. He requests Aboy Charan to spread Krishna consciousness in the Western world. Aboy Charan hears and is deeply impressed. By this time, Aboy Charan has a growing family. He moves to Allahabad and starts a successful pharmacy. All the while, his spiritual master's words remain implanted in his heart. In 1933, he becomes a disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, who comments, "He will do everything in due time." 3 years later, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta leaves this world, after again requesting Aboy Charan to preach in English. Aboy Charan takes his words to heart and starts writing prodigiously. In 1944, he single-handedly begins publishing and distributing Back to Godhead, a fortnightly. The first issue addresses the crisis of war. The Second World War within 20 years is scourging the earth. Back to Godhead points out that people throughout the world want an end to war. But so often they want God's kingdom without God, and they cannot have it. All our plans will be doomed to failure by our own selfishness unless we turn to God. After the war, Aboy Charan moves to Jhansi and founds the League of Devotees. He prepares a charter for an international organization, its members dedicated to a peaceful, God-centered life. Acharya Prabhakar, his first disciple, remembers. He was always teaching Krishna consciousness, and people came to him for knowledge. After hearing from him, many wanted to become his disciple. He told them, "I can make you my disciple, but first you please chant the names of God and give up cigarettes, meat eating, illicit sex, and gambling." But few people would agree to give up these habits. Then he said, "Indians are imitating the Westerners. I will make disciples in the West. Then when the Indian people see Westerners following religious principles, they will also follow." Following tradition, at age 58, Aboy Charan retires from family life, and 5 years later accepts the renounced order. He is now known as A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. He lives alone in the historic medieval temple of Radha Damodar in Vrindavan, engaged in deep studies and writing. It was in Vrindavan that Lord Krishna revealed his pastimes 50 centuries ago, and saintly persons throughout the ages have worshipped this land as the most sacred on earth. Unlike other holy men who live there, Bhaktivedanta Swami is not thinking of retiring. For him, Vrindavan is a source of inspiration, an ideal place to chant, worship, and write. Here he begins work on his life's masterpiece, translation and commentary on the monumental devotional classic Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhaktivedanta Swami calls it a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. But often he leaves Vrindavan to print his magazine and books in nearby Delhi. Traveling takes time and tolerance, but Bhaktivedanta Swami accepts it as part of his spiritual mission to broadcast devotional service to Lord Krishna. He writes, "Our leaders have carefully set aside the treasure house of India's spiritual asset, and they are imitating the Western material way of life. But people are more unhappy than ever before because of the exclusion of the most important part of life, the spiritual aspect." In Delhi, Bhaktivedanta Swami personally distributes copies of Back to Godhead, and with small donations, struggles to maintain the publication. He regularly sees Surendra Kumar Jain, a printer.
It was somewhere in the month of February 1956 that I first met Prabhupada. He came to my press for getting the magazine printed, Back to Godhead. I found that it was not very easy for him to collect money. He would come to the press practically every day, and after the printing was done, he would do everything himself. But he was a dedicated person, a very committed person. And at the times when he was not in a position to pay the bills, I would ask him, "Why are you running this? Why don't you stop it?" He would say, "No, it is my mission. And one day, Surendra Kumar, you will see that I will succeed in my mission."
By 1964, Bhaktivedanta Swami completes 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri lauds his accomplishment and recommends his books for placement in India's public libraries. Sumati Morarji, chairman of the Scindia Steamship Company, gives contributions for printing Bhaktivedanta Swami's books and arranges for his passage to America.
And he used to come every evening. And one day he said that he would like to go to America. I was surprised. I said, "Swamiji, don't go there. You are too old to go, and it will be too cold for you." Still he insisted. So I said, "All right." So I made arrangement for him to go by Jaladuta. On way, while he was passing through Suez, that day was Lord Krishna's birthday, and he gathered all the people on board the ship, all the crew members, officers, and recited some shloka, and then some prasad was distributed to them and all that.
Bhaktivedanta Swami, a lone mendicant, 70 years old, traveling halfway across the world. His only resources, the message he carries and his unflinching faith. The voyage on the Jaladuta proves a great trial. Bhaktivedanta Swami endures seasickness and then suffers severe chest pains. In 2 days, he has 2 heart attacks. If another comes, he thinks he will surely not survive. But gradually, he recovers. He writes, "I feel today better, but I am feeling separation from Vrindavan. I have no qualification, but I have taken up the risk just to carry out the order of my spiritual master." September 17th, 1965. The Jaladuta arrives in Boston Harbor. On board, Bhaktivedanta Swami writes, "My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Most of the population here is absorbed in material life. How will I make them understand your message? I can simply repeat your words, and if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding." I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhaktivedanta, devotion with knowledge. Now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Bhaktivedanta Swami first stays in Butler, Pennsylvania, in the home of a friend's son, Gopal Agarwal, and his wife Sally.
The Swami was a friend of my husband's father, Mr. Agarwal, in Agra, India, and he asked me to sponsor the Swami, and that's what I did. And that's why he came to our house in the middle of the night one night. He stayed with us for a month in Butler, and I learned, over the time, I learned to love him as I would a father-in-law. He was a very sensitive and kindly type of person. He was indeed one of the most unusual men I've ever known in my life. The Swami came with so few possessions. He came with the clothes he had on his back. He had a typewriter, and he had his books. And he had a bag of cereal. Imagine coming to a country on the other side of the world with so little, and yet he came with so much in himself. The Swami brought a pan with him in which he cooked his food, and in fact cooked our lunch too. Our little boy was only 6 months old when he came, and the Swami was there when Bridge first stood, and he laughed and laughed to see him stand up. When he laughed, he was just oceanic. He just seemed to take in the entire universe when he laughed, and he laughed a lot. I enjoyed my association for that 1 month with him about as much as I've enjoyed anything in my life.
Although comfortable in Butler, Bhaktivedanta Swami thought the most important philosophy in the world, Krishna consciousness, should be spread in one of the most important cities in the world, New York. He moves to 100 West 72nd Street. 3 months later, his typewriter and tape recorder for translating are stolen. Bhaktivedanta Swami later said, "I came to America risking my life. I was physically unfit and at the fag end of my days. Sometimes I did not know where to live, nor was I used to the severe cold. Seemingly, I was alone for 1 year, but I never felt alone. I always felt the presence of my spiritual master, so I did not lose my enthusiasm, despite all difficulties." Bhaktivedanta Swami arrived in America during a decade of discontent. There's widespread dissatisfaction with America's war in Vietnam, and with what some consider her racist, exploitative dealings at home and abroad. Disillusioned by the establishment, the youth create a counterculture of their own. Around the time Bhaktivedanta Swami came, waves of Americans are breaking away from the status quo, searching for an alternative. For a short time, Bhaktivedanta Swami lives in the Bowery in a loft given by a friend. Mukunda Goswami, who was attending his classes at this time, tells of their first meeting.
He wore very thick glasses and had a big Sanskrit book spread out before him. His voice was very deep and resonant. He spoke with great authority, and the Sanskrit shlokas he spoke were very beautiful, very melodious. He was obviously a very distinguished scholar, and I became very curious, almost astonished as to how someone of his stature, he looked very much like an aristocrat, could be living and residing in the Bowery, the Skid Row of New York. And afterwards, I approached him to speak. I was standing, and he was sitting on his small dais, so he was looking up at me, and he had the look of a very happy, innocent young child. And I could see that he actually had all the time in the world for me. He wasn't short of time. I asked questions, he would answer. Then after some time, he moved to a somewhat better neighborhood on 2nd Avenue. We helped him rent a small storefront there, and he had an apartment in the back. And within a few weeks' time, this little storefront on 2nd Avenue, on the Lower East Side of New York, which was then populated by thousands of young hippies, had been transformed into a beautiful Krishna temple. Allen Ginsberg, I remember, began to come at that time.
When he moved down the Lower East Side, I thought that was a stroke of brilliant social judgment, because traditionally, Swami's yogis and masters all moved uptown to the rich and were sponsored and funded by the rich, and you would find Krishnamurti living in elegant apartments on the Upper East Side, with drawing rooms and French furniture. And here was Bhaktivedanta, like in the depths of Calcutta, where the hippies were, and where the acid heads were, and the freaks and the amphetamine heads and the meth monsters. So it seemed like he was actually bringing some kind of ray of song and light to the right place, the lower depths where it was needed. And where, of course, the glory side was the intellectual center in certain respects, in art and in advanced spiritual vibrations, particularly in the 60s. So it seemed historically just move on his part.
A friend of mine told me about love celebration at Tompkins Square Park, which was last Thursday, or Thursday before last. And I knew I had been seeking a guru for a while. So Krishna sent me there, and I was there. And after meeting some of the initiates, I knew that the Swami really had to be into something.
I came here in America in September 1965. I was wandering in the street, and some of the boys saw me, and gradually they came to me. My mission is to preach the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This transcendental vibration will cleanse the dirty things of the mind. It doesn't matter what he is. This transcendental vibration is equally appealing to everyone without any question of language, nationality, creed or caste, because it is coming forth from the depth of the soul.
Krishna was all along preparing something, Bhaktivedanta Swami later wrote, and he brought you to me one by one, sincere boys and girls, to be trained in Krishna consciousness. Now I can see that it is a miracle. Otherwise, one old man with only a few books to sell for barely getting food, how could he survive, what to speak of introducing a God-conscious movement in a materialistic society? For Bhaktivedanta Swami, these are happy days. Singing and speaking with the vigor of a young man, he brings the Hare Krishna movement into the public eye, by chanting in the parks, by distributing Back to Godhead magazine, by holding free Sunday love feasts. Many are attracted. His hopes for the future expand without limit. The Hare Krishna movement has taken root.
Sometime in the spring of 1967, people handed me clippings from New York newspapers saying that there was a Swami in New York City. So I went to New York to look up this person and his movement. My first contact was with disciples apart from Bhaktivedanta Swami, and I was frankly somewhat disappointed by the disciples. They seemed to be not very informed about what they were doing. They were unclear about the whole thing, and yet they were terribly serious and terribly devoted to what they were about. And I couldn't put those two pieces together, you know, their confusion, uncertainty on the one hand and their commitment on the other, until I met Bhaktivedanta Swami. And as soon as I met him, which was after several visits to the temple, I realized that this was the person who really made the whole thing go. But the impressive thing about that was he was never himself in the center. He never said, you should do this because of me. He always said, you should do this and I should do this because of Krishna. When he gave them instructions to do what they thought were impossible things, like he told one of the early disciples, go start a magazine. The guy had never had any contact with a magazine before in his life except to read one. And he said, how am I to do that? And Bhaktivedanta Swami said, Krishna will help you. He was just astonishing in terms of the personal impact that he had on people, the way that he was able to give them confidence in themselves, but more importantly, give them confidence that there was a guide who was leading them and would give them the strength that they needed.
Bhaktivedanta Swami does not belong to New York. He belongs to Krishna. So when a few of his followers invite him to San Francisco, he goes and introduces the freewheeling youth to Krishna, his ancient culture, his spiritual food, his eternal chant, the way to stay high forever. In the heart of the hippie movement, Haight-Ashbury, Golden Gate Park, and in the hearts of the hippies, the Hare Krishna mantra resounds with unimagined potency. As in New York, Bhaktivedanta Swami gathers sincere followers. The Hare Krishna movement begins to grow. Bhaktivedanta Swami becomes respectfully known as Prabhupada, meaning one at whose feet the masters sit. From Montreal, Prabhupada sends 6 disciples to open a temple in London. Yamuna Devi Dasi remembers.
So we went to London that fall, and although we had no permanent place of residence and we were completely dependent on Krishna, somehow or another, by the enthusiasm that Srila Prabhupada had given us in Montreal, we were able to make contact with George Harrison, who was a member of the Beatles at the time. And he was such a pleasant person to be with. He so much appreciated the Hare Krishna mantra that he immediately said, let's make a 45 record. So we'd cut a record, and he was very pleased with it, did a little background music on it, and it was released, and Apple organized tours for us. We went to Germany and France and had television coverage. And in this way, the London Times wanted to do, the Sunday Times wanted to do a feature on us, and we were able to send the report back to Srila Prabhupada with the headlines, Krishna Consciousness Startles London.
As people come to him, convinced of the Krishna conscious philosophy, Srila Prabhupada accepts them for initiation, not on the basis of birth, as in the rigid Hindu caste system, but on the basis of qualification and sincerity. In the whole history of Indian spiritual life, no one has ever attempted something as bold and seemingly impossible, to transform Westerners into full-fledged devotees of Lord Krishna. But by his intense spiritual energy and compassion, Srila Prabhupada is successful beyond his own expectations.
How old is the movement?
Well, from historical point of view, it is about 5,000 years.
Why has it just begun to really catch on in the Western world? I mean, just recently, in recent years, has it begun to sweep the Western world? Why is this?
The Western world, the younger generation were being frustrated with the hippie movement. So when they saw something tangible, they accepted it.
What things would, if everyone in the United States believed in Krishna to the extent that you do, what would happen to this country? How would it be transformed?
They'll be very happy and peaceful. There will be no more hippies.
What would you describe as a hippie? Someone who smokes.
You know better than me. Something extraordinary.
The thing that really inspired me the most about Srila Prabhupada was his complete dedication to his devotees. The thing that Prabhupada liked the best was to be with his disciples. It wasn't that he took on large amounts of disciples and then sat back and then just pushed them to do this and that and the other for himself. He did more for us than we ever did for him. And traveling with him personally, I got to see what a tremendous sacrifice he made for us. And even when he was ill, he would still preach. He would still be concerned. He would still be asking after how things were going in the society that he created, how were individual disciples doing. He always had time also to look to our personal needs. He was very concerned. Prabhupada wasn't aloof. All he really wanted was us to reciprocate the love that he gave to us. And if we reciprocated, he would give us more. So my personal experience with Srila Prabhupada was that I found in him a person that I could actually genuinely, fully give myself to.
In Srila Prabhupada's eyes, Krishna consciousness is not an armchair philosophy or a part-time religion. It is a way of life, a transcendental culture that can end man's political, economic, and social problems. To realize his vision, Srila Prabhupada circles the globe 14 times in 12 years, inspiring his followers and discussing Krishna consciousness with all interested persons. His door is open to everyone.
Actually, nothing is private property. Everything belongs to God. Rather, we have stolen God's property and claim it mine. That is Australia. The Englishman came here, but is that the property of the Englishman? It was there. America, it was there. And when everything will be finished, it will be there. In the middle, we come and claim it is my property and fight.
To revive the Krishna conscious tradition in its full richness, Prabhupada envisions God-centered, self-sufficient farm communities based on the principle of plain living and high thinking. The first such community begins on 133 acres in the hills of West Virginia. Prabhupada calls it New Vrindavan, after Krishna's place of pastimes in India. In 1972, Srila Prabhupada begins a Krishna-conscious primary school system in Dallas, Texas.
Srila Prabhupada very practically introduced a primary school system to teach children self-realization. We could hardly find an institution where the faculty members are free of loose sexual relationships, intoxication, smoking, although they may have good credentials academically. That would be rare to find. But in Krishna consciousness, the teacher must also be on a platform of pure devotional service, because the children are very impressionable and they'll learn whatever their educators are actually doing, not just what they're saying. So these were some of the principles that Srila Prabhupada introduced in Gurukul.
Srila Prabhupada gradually trains his disciples in the time-honored tradition of deity worship to help them advance spiritually. He explains, "I have introduced this system of deity worship among the non-believers, the atheists. Krishna cannot be understood with our present senses, but by his kindness he agrees to personally appear as the deity to accept our service. When we are attracted to the beautiful form of the deity, we will forget our attraction for material things. And as we serve the deity, we will develop pure love of God.
So it's a big video, so I'll share with you the link and you can see it. So any comments, any thoughts from anyone? Yes, sir. Yeah, so like one time one of Prabhupada's disciple had come and he was really addressing us. And he was saying that, can you really believe what Prabhupada has done? And can you realize? And he said, yes, we know Srila Prabhupada has established this movement, ISKCON, and he has really preached. And then he said to us, no, you cannot understand unless you're at the age of 70. Once you become at the age of 70, when all your body parts would be failing, right? And you would have no possessions. No possessions. When he reached New York, or like first in the Boston, he didn't know where to go left and right. And after going through seasickness, 2 heart attacks, right? And nowhere to go, nothing to do, like no health. Like wherever we go, now we have some car, we know there's a hotel there, right? Everything is planned. But for him, just to go for the first time, as that Sumati Murarji was saying, oh Swamiji, you are too old. That is too cold. How can you go? What you will do there? But you see the determination. He had received that instruction from his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that you are a well-educated English boy. Why don't you preach this message of Mahaprabhu, this message of Lord Krishna in the Western world? He took it, that sentence, that line, as his life and soul. And he was really always thinking about it. And he received that instruction in 1922, exactly 100 years back. Right? And then he got initiated in 1933 from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And in 1944, he started a magazine called Back to Godhead. Right? And in 1955, he took Banprastha. And in 1966, he established this ISKCON. And 1977, he left this world. Right? It is so inconceivable for us to understand what he has done. Yes. Any other thoughts? Any other striking points? Yes, sir. Yeah. Like you cannot believe, right? Like as we heard, once he went to Vrindavan, he was staying in Radha Damodar temple. Now also you go to Vrindavan, you can see the Radha Damodar temple in a small room where he was staying. And then he was writing the books there. He was cooking, he was, doing this proofreading, and then he was going to Delhi to print the books, and he was going to Delhi to distribute their books. In the whole night, later on the Goswamis who were staying nearby, they used to tell that we see that how the Swamiji, he would be crying in front of the samadhis of our past acharyas. I don't have any strength, I don't have any qualities, but how will I really fulfill the instruction of my spiritual master to go to the West and to preach this message of the Lord? And while he would be traveling in Delhi, right, like in a hot summer, right, sometimes when a bull would come and throw him, and he would really fall down for hours, and somebody would come and lift him, and he will take him, right? And then, like as that Surendra Jain, the printing guy, was saying that Swamiji would come and even without breakfast because he didn't have even the money. So yeah, it's inconceivable. Any other points? Any other thoughts? So like all these Western disciples, they didn't have any qualification. As you saw, that they were living in the street. They were just without any clothes, without any manners. They just knew only rock and roll and having sex. Right? And to those people, he really elevated to the highest top class Vaishnavas, whose life was only drinking liquor. He made them drink the nectars of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Right? Who didn't have any qualification, he called them as a white elephants whose business is to dance in front of Lord Krishna. He made them preachers, right? all the diseased person, right, who are there, the lectures, the hippies, he made them leaders in the movement to preach. He sent, all his disciples all over the world to Europe, and like you saw that 6 disciples he sent to London to preach. And now you go to London, near London, there is a place called Manor, Bhaktivedanta Manor, given by this Beatles, George Harrison. Now also you see, every year, like the prime ministers of UK, they go there, they celebrate Diwali, they celebrate Janmashtami, right, including Rishi Sunak, he had gone, right. So you see that wherever you go now, right, how the devotees, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they have sacrificed so much. And, you heard that, like, how you were saying, always Srila Prabhupada was giving so much, then what we could offer it to him, right? Because he had so much love for his disciples, they could do anything for him. One time, one of the parent of one of his disciples came, right, and said that, why are you here? Without any, proper facilities and so on, you come back, I'll kind of give you millions. He said, no, the love that I'm getting from this Swamiji, I have never received from anyone else. One time he had brought his disciples to Jaipur, right? There was a big program was happening, and like the same Jamuna Mataji who saw that, she was singing this Isopanishad verses, and everybody was stunned, how these Western devotees, they are chanting beautiful verses, and but still one person was there trying to find faults. Oh, Swamiji, you see their pronunciation was not correct. Then Srila Prabhupada said, but you see their renunciation. Can you really follow that? Can you really do it? It's easy to find faults, right? But the kind of commitment that Srila Prabhupada and his disciples have done it, right, given to the world, we cannot match it. Especially in Russia, like whenever, like Prabhupada had gone once only to Russia, just touched one devotee there, just one. And now later on, right, the most prolific growth of Krishna conscious movement happening in the Eastern European countries, or the Russia, or the borders of that, like Ukraine, Croatia, and all these places. How? It is that the sacrifice, selfless sacrifice of Prabhupada and his disciples. Because they have so much of love within to share. They didn't want to keep it within themselves. Any other points? Anybody remembered that touched your heart? Dedicated to the devotees, yes. Yes, the vibration, very beautiful, right? He didn't do any magic. He didn't do any magic. He was not a magician, right? He was just going to a park called Tompkins Square Park, right? Like in just a garden, and there was a tree. Under that tree, he used to sit with the symbols ching, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Just by hearing this Mahamantra, everybody's heart would get transformed. They would come and dance, they would come with their instruments and they would play. Just over a period of time, they would leave everything else and be completely dedicated to serve. And how Srila Prabhupada, like I just say, so much devoted, he himself, now we have at least some good number of devotees to help and support the program. But he was a single man. He would be inviting everybody, he would be cooking for them, he would be giving the class for them, he would be serving them, and at the end, everybody will else go, right? He will clean the utensils after that. Right? That was his dedication. Yes, any other points from anyone else? Anybody else would like to repeat? Any other thoughts? Or maybe I can ask some questions otherwise. Okay, I have some gift. Is that what? Please raise your hand. Okay. Hopefully you have noted some points. Okay. The first question. Please raise your hand. Okay. This is a very beautiful, very short book on biography of Srila Prabhupada. This gift will be yours. What is the first magazine, right, that Prabhupada started distributing? Okay, so you have already so many. Okay, please, I will give to you. Huh? Okay, yes. Back to God. Okay, thank you very much. Yes. No, it's a very beautiful book for you. Okay. Now, next question. What is the name of Prabhupada's first disciple? And what is the name of the first disciple? Yes, you raised first. Excellent. Thank you very much. Yes. Some people ask that, why Prabhupada went to the West and started this movement. Yes, Prabhupada tried in India. He started a group called League of Devotees in Jhansi, right? And only one, became his disciple. And after that, at that time, the governor of that state was K. Munshi, and his wife, he wanted to have a ladies program in that house, and somehow it got dismantled, right? And he could not succeed in establishing this movement. And then he said that, okay, everybody is imitating West. Let me go to West, and let me give this message to them and let them follow the West. I'll bring the devotees from the West. He called something called pizza effect. How many knows something called pizza effect? It is said that, especially in Italy, this pizza that people are so fond of, it used to be poor man's food. They used to have some bread. They used to put some tomato sauce, and they used to eat it. But then after that, it went to the US. After it went to the US, they started putting a lot of masala, yellow pinno, and got the capsicum, and the paneer, and whatever, all the masalas there. And then it, with beautiful decorated, with beautiful presentation, right? It came back to the Europe, and then it became so famous. Right? Similarly, this message of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavata, this is nothing new. As Prabhupada, this is a message of 5,000 years old. But then once into the US, it came back from the US. Oh, now there is so much content in it. Right? Yes, Prabhupada is not saying this is something new. It is already there, but somehow we have forgotten it. Thank you very much. Yes. Now, next question. So, anybody knows, right? The host of Srila Prabhupada while he went to the US. Who was the host? Please raise your hand. Please raise your hand. Yes. What is that? Sally. Yes, very good. Thank you very much. Yes, her name is Sally Agrawal. Yes, just last month only she left this material world. And yes, her husband's name was Gopal Agrawal, from Agra. And as she was saying that when Swamiji came to her house, right, it was so difficult in one way for Swamiji, who has come from Radha Damodar temple from Vrindavan, right, to live in a family where, in that fridge, they had all the, meat items and everything, right? And Srila Prabhupada, who is such a renunciant, and to live in that place. But he was completely composed, even in that kind of, so difficult environment. Because he was thinking that, yes, I'm not here for the whole time. He was always thinking, how can I really go out of it, to the New York City and to preach and to please his spiritual master. Right? Yes, there could be so many obstacles on that path. But he was not saying that let me be comfortable because now I got a place in Butler, Pennsylvania. But he was always thinking, how do I go to New York and really spread this message of Krishna consciousness? Hare Krishna. Okay, so we have a couple of more books. Okay, so now, so there is a very beautiful temple. It's called Palace of Gold. It's a beautiful monument of Srila Prabhupada in the US. Can you say in which place it is?
West.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes. Prabhupada. Prabhupada. So, oh, we have so many. Okay. So, Prabhupada, like his mood was that in whichever the places he would go, he would create like new Vrindavan, new Mayapur, new Radha Gopinath, like especially he saw that all the English people, they went from England and all that, they stayed New York, New Jersey, new San Francisco, all that. So they used to add new. So he also added starting new Vrindavan, new Mayapur. So now you go to all these places. He has created a Vrindavan. So that place is not different than Vrindavan. You can really feel the presence of the Lord. And Prabhupada says now that all the temples, they're Vrindavan, because in all these places, there is always singing and dancing of the Lord, is always happening. So yes, the temples of the Lord, they are not different than the Vrindavan that we eager to go. Okay. So now the question is, you saw that beautiful video where Prabhupada went in a cargo ship. Okay, what is that cargo? Please raise your hand. Okay, that was an easy one. Next question. Okay, that's an easy one. Okay, so yes, and of course Prabhupada, he was so always generous, and he always wanted to give. But just to get a little bit more inquisitiveness and to know more about Krishna. So Prabhupada was had gone to. There are two, especially gentlemen, right, who talked about in the beginning, right, how he was preaching to the hippies. Do you know who were the persons who spoke about in the beginning? How Prabhupada came to US? Yeah. Yes, what he spoke? Yes. Yes. And what else he said? Okay. Yeah. Yes. No, thank you very much. Yes, basically, right, because most of the times, some of the saints and sadhus, like we talked about the tripod, right, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. See, he was not saying that, yes, because I am saying, all these things that you should do it. No, because Krishna is saying in this Bhagavad Gita, that's what you should do it. How, right, not only the hippies, right, who are uncultured, they were so fond of Srila Prabhupada. Even the so-called philosophers at that point of time, the professor, the scientists, they were respecting so much, what Srila Prabhupada was saying. Thank you very much. Yes, you're all scientific. Okay. Now, the question is that anybody would like to ask any tough questions to that audience? Anybody would like to make a tough question to the audience? Yes, please. Ramya Mataji. Hurry, go. Yeah, so actually he was passing through the Surat, right, on the day of Janmashtami. But okay, maybe I'll ask a little differently. On which month and which year Prabhupada reached in the US? 17th September 1965. Excellent. 1965. Very good. So now we talked about. Okay, I'll just have a couple of more questions. Then before we. Okay. So Prabhuji is asking, do you know what is the name of the school or the college Srila Prabhupada Abhay Charan, studied in Calcutta? The school and college name. Please raise your hand. Please raise your hand. The school and college name. What is it? Yes, the school. No, like that is the next question. Like he had a pharmacy. It's called Prayag Pharmacy in Allahabad. So that was, he was really working there. But he studied like I think 2 of you answered. Maybe 2 of you only answer, right? Like our Pramod Prabhu and our Ramya Mataji. Okay. Now question is. What was the age of Abhay when his mother left? For 2 of you. Yeah, his mother left. Right? No? Huh? At what age his mother left? Huh? And now he's open to everybody else? Huh? He was only 14. That was 1910. Right? His mother left. Huh? But still, you know, he had the desire to always serve Radha Govindji. And his father always used to tell whoever used to come to that house, please bless my child that he can be a servant of Srimati Radharani. So, okay. So, now this is for the children only. Any children are here? Okay. What is the meaning of Bhakti Vedanta? You know, we heard in the video, this is for the children. What is the meaning of Bhakti Vedanta? Anybody can tell? Anybody can tell? Okay, now we'll open it for everybody. Please raise your hand. What is the meaning of Bhakti Vedanta? Please raise your hand. Please raise your hand. Okay, what is your? That is a Prabhupada. Yes? No. Okay. Yes, excellent. Thank you very much. You are very attentive. Yes, you know. You already got it, so I will hand it over to somebody else. Yes. Yes, you know, as he said, you know, devotion with knowledge. Yes. Okay, I think the last one. So now the question is, Srila Prabhupada, right? He was staying in a place, right, in US. That place, when his typewriter was stolen, you know, even he was attacked, you know, by, you know, one of his flatmate where he was staying. Do you know what is that place? Please raise your hand. No, Butler, Pennsylvania, he must reach there. What do you say? New York. Yeah, New York is a place, but or okay, I'll make it a little simpler. You know, the name of the storefront where he had the first temple in New York. Do you know the address? He's talked about in the video. Yes, Rose. Yeah, Matchless Gift Shop. Do you know the address? He spoke in the video. Okay, but at least you got it right a little bit. So it's a 26 Second Avenue Matchless Street. So, thank you very much for all of your enthusiastic listening. And I will send you this video so you can also watch it, the complete video, and especially the last part where we see that how, right, he was in the age of 80s, 81, his body weight, you know, had halved, right? And at that point of time, he was completely in his bed, you know, his bones were really visible at that point of time. And I'll just show you this video and then we can. How? This is the last part of the video. At this point.
Program in Bombay. In May, he journeys to Rishikesh at the foot of the Himalayas to try to regain his health. There he continues to instruct his intimate disciples. Then in October, Srila Prabhupada returns to his old home Vrindavan to spend his final days. Even though he is physically incapacitated, Srila Prabhupada's intellect remains clear. He continues dictating translations and comments on his life's work, Srimad Bhagavatam, until days before he departs from this world.
Everything is active, moving by the supreme desire of Krishna. This consciousness is Krishna brāhmaṇa.
November 14th, 1977, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada passes on. That divine personality who spoke on different subjects with thousands of meanings, who imparted knowledge in thousands of ways, and who inspired thousands of devotees, has now returned to his Lord, Sri Krishna. Being kind to his devotees, Lord Krishna gave them the association of Srila Prabhupada. Being independent in his desires, the Lord has now broken that association. Yet Srila Prabhupada remains. He lives forever in his teachings, and he lives forever in the hearts of his followers as their ever well-wisher.
So yes, this is a very wonderful video where we saw that how till the last moment of his life, as we said, that he occupied completely in the service of the Lord. He was dictating the translation, he was dictating the purport, the commentary of this scripture called Srimad Bhagavatam. That he was not saying that, okay, I'm so much of pain and I'm leaving, I have so much things to do, I'm leaving. No, he was completely satisfied. Because he was clear that now he has done his service and he's now going back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, we just quickly chant. Okay. This is summary of it. Okay, we'll continue to chant. Okay. Can I have a bit more? So I believe all of you are following this wellness challenge that we had given just 30 minutes every day on this auspicious month of Damodar. And we had requested all of you just to spend some time connecting with the Lord through the chanting of the holy name, just maybe 2 rounds, maybe 15 minutes, just reading Bhagavad Gita, maybe for just couple of slokas every day, just offering water to Tulasi, just honoring Sattvic Prasadam at home, and also offering lamps while chanting this Damodara Slokam, Damodara Shtakam. So still we have a couple of days left, 1 week left. I would request all of you to please, if you are not able to do it, you can still start from today. Lord is very merciful. Even if you do little, Lord will reciprocate. So this is my humble request. So please take this process sincerely, and definitely it can really bring a significant change into your heart. So now let's chant this Mahamantra. So once you are chanting the holy name, just think that the Lord is dancing on our tongue. The Lord is not different than the holy name. This Lord is not different. Krishna, the name and the Lord, they are not different. So once you are chanting the holy name, the Lord is dancing in our tongue. So yes, this is a time with Krishna, the most important person. So first, let's take shelter of Panchatattva, the father of Sankirtan movement. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Now we'll chant in chorus. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. So I would request all of you to please continue your chanting. So today we are getting little late, so we stopped in between. So but please complete your rounds once you go back home. So now we'll just quickly chant our Damodara Stakam and then we'll go for Prasad. Prabhu ke Saksa Darshan is waiting. The most merciful form of the Lord, this grand offering. So maybe anybody can tell how many number of Bhoga offering we had. Maybe we can just get from our registration counter. So in the meantime, we'll just start chanting. Our Darshan Prabhu is here. Darshan Prabhu, we can play down. Play, brother. Yes, yesterday was the day, our Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day Tithi wise. That's why we really are celebrating the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada today. More than 108. So we have now more than 108 Bhoga offerings to Lord Jagannath. Haribo! So thank you very much. Yes, we had planned to offer 108 Bhogas to the Lord, but Lord is really so pleased. He inspired so many of the devotees. Yes.